All right, so it's been a couple of days since we set up our station here. So I'm just gonna take some notes here. I'm gonna write down what the day and the time as well. So I'm just gonna put today's date and times noon. And I'm going to also take a picture of the site. I'm gonna use my smartphone just to kind of get an idea of the general conditions so I can kind of see what it looks like. And I'm also going to make note of the temperatures before we remove the site. So looks like our first channel, which is our air temperature, is negative 16.4. Channel 2's negative 17.13. Channel 3 is negative 12.03, and at the bottom, which is 80 centimeters down, if you remember, that one is negative 7.731. Perfect. Okay. So I've got my values written, time and date of collection. I've got a picture of our site. And so with that, we can go ahead and remove the site and take it back to the lab. Perfect. Okay, so we are back in the lab. We have our station here, and so I'm going to go ahead and take the HoboWare logger off. And so I'm going to plug it in using our USB cable. I have that plugged into our laptop. And I have on the computer the HoboWare software already loaded. And all we need to do is go to Device, Read Out, and it's going to ask you immediately to save the file. So save it in a place that makes sense for you. It'll give you a little plot setup. You don't have to do a lot of these started, button up, button down, stopped. You can click none, and that's fine. So where it says select internal logger events to plot, you can just click none and uncheck all of those because we don't need those. And you can go down to plot and click plot. And here we go. So just reference, we have time on our x-axis. So we have up on our y-axis, this is degrees in Celsius. And you can see we have 4 different lines. That represents our 4 different channels. And we also have a table here with all the numbers. So you can look at the graph or you can look at it on the table. And this is over the past couple days. And so just looking at this channel, this one would be our air temperature. It has the most variability to it because it is above the snow. And then you have channel 2, channel 3, and channel 4 respectively. And so we can already see a little bit of a spike here from where we installed it. It goes up, that'll be the middle of the day, and then it goes back down, and it goes back up again. And so we have a couple cycles here, and you can see the times at the bottom. We have 12 a.m. here and 12 a.m. here. And so a good representation of data. And so just looking at our channels here, there's a fancy little tool that you can use up here that will allow us to select data where we want it to. It's called the crosshair tool. And so we can click anywhere, and that creates a line, and that'll show us in the table when that value was taken and what those values are. And so it's kind of helpful. You can drag it, and you can kind of see around here, channel 1, which is this first column. We can see the temperature was 16 below, and we can go across and see that at the very bottom we have -7. And so we can kind of look at our lowest temperature and our highest temperature and kind of figure out kind of a mean temperature of what's going on. And you can see the variability is more extreme above the snow. So if we look at here, we go from 16 below, we can go down here, at night we have 23 below. And so we have a pretty big difference between those two. So if we go, let's see, I'm going to pull up my calculator here. We do, was that 26 or 23? 23 plus 16 divided by 2. So we have a mean difference of 19.5 degrees, so a pretty big change. As far as, you know, in the snow, we can go to channel 2 here. This one was only a few, about 30 centimeters below the snow surface. And that temperature was 13.6 here, and it kind of dips down here to about 17. And so we pull up a calculator again. 13 plus 17 divided by 2, so 15. So we went from 19 degree difference, 15 degree difference for our mean temperature. And if we go up to here, we look about here at our lowest temperature, channel 4, we have -7. And let's go over here and also -7. So as you go deeper into the snow, you'll see that our mean temperature, daily temperature, doesn't have these big spikes, ups and downs. It stays very constant, and that's due to the thermal properties of snow insulating the ground from all these changes that you see due to air temperature. It's not getting down to the ground surface. And so that is something that we can experiment with more, we can look at more, especially if we have deeper snow, we can kind of see a different kind of gradient. But for this experiment, you know, paints a pretty good picture as to what I was talking about earlier, is how it acts like a blanket. It really keeps the heat in the ground and keeping the cold air from getting to the ground. So we have this data. Now we want to get this off of HoboWare. And so if you want to export this into, say, Excel, we need to export this file as a CSV. And so I'll show you how to take this off of HoboWare. If we go to File, and we go to Export Data Table, and it'll show you our 4 channels here. Leave that all selected, that's fine. And you hit Export, and then it's going to ask you to save the file. So save the file where you want. Once you click Save, it'll save to that file. And so you can go there, and then you can open it in Excel, and then you can make your own graphs. You can do some more analysis, and the sky's the limit. You can do whatever you like. So hopefully this has been informative and instructive, and go out there and give it a try.